what we are trying to do is to bring people together, to agree on those issues that divide us, and then be in a position to actually have an election where the people of Kenya will have an opportunity to choose for themselves thereafter the leader and have a system that is more inclusive so that the results at the end of the day will be such that there will be both acceptability because there shall be a feeling of inclusion and that no one has been left behind.
It was among President Uhuru Kenyatta's major interviews where he reiterated his quest to have a unified country in spite of who won the 2022 elections.
And I am very hopeful that we are going to be able to work towards that end, not only with me and my deputy, but also with all. But that is the program I have, that is the objective I have, and with the help of God and the people of Kenya, that is what I hope to achieve, and that is the gift I hope to leave behind.
But even as he exits the stage for the next Commander-in-Chief, we sought to find out whether his quest to have a unified country as part of his legacy materialized.
One of the things that probably President Uhuru Kenyatta will have left for this country is that we had a peaceful 2022 election, general election. A huge, huge plus to the legacy of Uhuru Kenyatta.
We had so much of a bad outcome out of an election that of course we ended up with the mock swearing in Uhuru Park, we ended up with the handshake and of course BBI, completely to where we are today. So President Uhuru has actually achieved one thing that you can't deny him, that he's exiting office without the country having seen some level of post-election violence since 2007. That you cannot deny President Uhuru Kenyatta.
In March of 2018, following the 2017 political turmoil, the Supreme Court nullification of the presidential election results and consequent protests from the opposition and the NASA, in a handshake that would shake the political arena, President Uhuru Kenyatta ended enmity between him and his then 5-year-old rival, Raila Odinga.
The time has come for us to confront and resolve our differences. These differences are becoming too entrenched.
Leaders must be able to discuss their differences. Leaders must be able to discuss freely and openly what ails our country, what is the reason and the cause for the ethnic divisions and frictions that we see across the country.
This will be followed up with a clean pursuit to unite all political leaders in a prayer service at Safari Park Hotel in Nairobi, where the political class spoke passionately about the 2017 elections.
On my behalf, Ndugu, I ask for your forgiveness. And I tender my apology.
He accused me of having insulted him. I also told him he also insulted me. He called me Kimundu Muguruki. Apologize.
All apologizing for the campaign vitriol spewed during the campaign period.
On behalf of all our teams and following in the footsteps of these great leaders, I want to say for all the things that I did say or do on behalf of all our teams, I want to ask for your forgiveness.
My brother William, you are the hustler #1. But a big hustler. I think you handed that over to me. I forgive you and may God bless you.
In spite of wrangles that played in the full glare of cameras, President Kenyatta insisted on the unity of the country, with many questioning how the head of state would unite the country despite a public display of differences between him and the second in command.
I think it was going to be so difficult for President Kenyatta to not only achieve the handshake and also please William Ruto in the same brush. It was quite difficult. He actually had a very difficult balancing act. I think, and in that particular instance, he did not have the patience probably to bring all of them on board.
The president of the Republic of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, enabled the deputy president to become the president-elect simply because of how he treated him, simply because of how he mistreated him. As a result, people felt that this individual was being mistreated unfairly, and you can see how many people voted from the Mount Kenya region, and that is from the central region, where the president comes from. They knew that these guys were friends, they started together, and they knew the role the deputy president played to enable President Uhuru Kenyatta ascend to power.
Political pundits are arguing that it was a political gamble for the president to leave out his deputy in pursuit of his longtime rival. Despite the gamble, President Kenyatta's quest for peace through the handshake has largely been attributed to the peaceful 2022 election, when no Kenyan went to the streets in pursuit of street justice.
You know, we know what happened in 2005, 2007. We know what happened in 2017. They were not very smooth election for that reason. They ended up being at the Supreme Court. But besides that, people were murdered. People fought. Communities went against each other. And there was a great division within the communities in this country. And people fought, and many people died as a result of that. Kenyans were also thinking that 2022 was going to follow that suit and that they were not going to have peace after the general election. It has surprised everybody that indeed a 2022 general election has come and has gone without bloodshed and without communities going after each other.
But there are still Kenyans who, despite the peace experienced in the country, are hurting and disgruntled by how the 2022 elections turned out. A rallying call to the incoming president is to have all the over 8 million Kenyans on board who never voted in the August elections, as well as the close to 7 million Kenyans that opted for his opponents.
The biggest percentage of Kenyans who didn't vote, or the biggest percentage of Kenyans didn't vote, didn't participate in this process. Well, slightly, it's still a government of the minority. Not just because the people who participated in this process are about 14 million. We have got about 8 million Kenyans who didn't vote. 4 million of them registered, 4 million of them who were not registered.
They didn't vote for William Somaya Ruto. They didn't vote for Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. The question is why? The president-elect must deal with the why question that we are going to ask. Why will 8 million people decide, well, we are not going to vote for either of the candidates? Something must change. It must change in our electoral system. It must change in our political narrative. It must also change in the way we run government so that this million people can have hope and have a desire to vote.
His cabinet must actually be reflective, or rather, be Article 10 compliant. It must have the face of Kenya. It must also be inclusive. His public utterances also should go out to heal rather than divide.
Even as the fight for a united country continues, the quest for a peaceful nation now extends to the incoming regime. Martin Opio, K24 TV, Nairobi.